guys. The thing with slashers, which I love so much, and why they're my favorite subgenre of horror, is that even if I devote a month to it, it's always slasher time on this channel. There will always be slashers being covered, as it is my absolute favorite type of horror. But I figured let me get a classic slasher that I hear about all the time out of the way. That I've always loved this movie. Not like loved it. It was a huge favorite of mine, but I always enjoyed it. For some reason, on this rewatch, I didn't care for this at all. Like, it really had a lot of pacing issues for me on this rewatch, and it really made me like rack my brain and start wondering, like, did I ever really care for this movie much? Because I don't know, man. There just was not a lot in this that like I took good from this time at all, and that's 1983's Curtains, directed by Richard Kiyupka, which I think he like changed his name as director on this to like Stryker, the main character in this, the lead guy who's trying to get this play about Audra made. I'm pretty sure he changed his name to that. This movie has a lot of giallo feel to it. Like, it doesn't feel like a straight up like 80s slasher. And maybe that's what I was forgetting about it. Like, I don't know. There was just something on this rewatch that just didn't hit me the way it usually does. And we have Miss Sherwood, who's an actress who is trying to get the role of this part of Audra, who is like this huge coveted part. She's like a mental chick, I guess. And Sherwood is method acting to the extreme and ends up getting herself committed into a insane asylum, basically, to prepare for this role. And there's some creepy shots, like during that, like of the patients and them all acting nuts and everything like that. Cool stuff, some creepy scenes. And then what Stryker does to this woman has got to be like the most cold-blooded, evil, you're going to hell the second you die type shit that I've ever seen in a movie. Like, for this guy to let this woman method act and go commit herself to try to get more into this role in his fucking production, just to leave her ass in in this asylum and just forget all about her and just leave her there like an insane person. Dude, that is so fucked up. That is so cold. Like, he deserves to die just for that. Like, just for that alone. Like, are you serious? You got this woman who's so hell-bent on becoming... It is Audra, right? Like, like I said, I watched most of these like a few days ago, so it's hard to remember some of this shit. I don't even think I wrote it down. I think it's Audra. But it's something with an A. She's trying to get this role, and she goes into an asylum to try to prepare. And you just leave her ass there? You just leave her in an asylum to live out the rest of her days. That is so fucking evil, man. Like, that is like real cold-blooded shit. So then we have 6 actresses in one house for one role of Audra. And God, I really hope it's Audra at this point after how many times I've said it. And they were all trying to get this coveted role. And then we get some rape fantasy. I don't know. Something like that happens. And there's some terrible dialogue in this movie. Like, there's just some stuff that I was just tuning out, like, instantly. It was like, oh, God. They couldn't have done better than any of these, like, discussions that they're having right now. And then we have the doll that keeps reappearing, which I don't know what the doll means. To me, it just looks like one of those, like, black-eyed children, like, myths that you hear about. Like, if you have a kid knock on your door in the middle of the night and they have no eyes, it's just like a black-eyed child. Like, that's what this doll looks like for me. Just like a black-eyed child. And the hag, though, is cool. Like, the whole mask of the hag, the ugly hag killer, really cool mask for a slasher film. Like I said, if you want to even call it, this feels so much more giallo, like I said, to me, than slasher. And yeah, there's not that big of differences between them, especially as time went on and they kind of like melded into each other. But there are differences. And this film feels a lot more in the giallo category for me than the slasher category, for sure. Maybe it's because it's from Canada. I mean, hey, they brought us some great stuff. Rush, Catherine Isabel, Curtains, meh. But then we have the first shot of the hag killing and stabbing the girl over and over again. Looks alright. Another thing is that there's not a lot of gore in this movie at all. Like, there's not many on-screen kills or on-screen gore or anything like that, which takes the slasher film by default down for me. So I don't know why I remembered liking this movie a lot more than I did. But we have that great scene with the ice skating chick when she's ice skating around and stuff, and she has the music playing. But I'll tell you this: there's no way there's no way anyone shut that fucking boombox off. There's no chance. Like, that thing just goes off so randomly. There's nothing for the killer to hide behind. There's no trees around for her to disguise herself. Even if there was, that would be ridiculous anyway. But there's no way that killer shut off that radio. There's no fucking chance. And this girl doesn't hear anyone else on the ice, or when the killer starts like ice skating towards her and stuff, she doesn't like feel the vibrations. Or this is me overanalyzing like always, but like she doesn't know anyone is on the ice with her and that she's not alone. Apparently she doesn't. But the music's cool in that scene. The sickle is a cool weapon that the killer uses. But this killer sucks at killing. Like, there's numerous times in this movie where the killer tries attempting to kill somebody and just whiffs the hit, like, for no reason. Like, maybe it's the HAGGG mask. Maybe they can't see well through the ice slits. I don't know. But she's not that great of a killer in this movie. And then the ice skating chick gets her throat cut behind the tree, which, like I said, it's alright. It looks cool. It's just, you don't see much. Or at all. Like, there's, like, no gore or good kills in this movie. Then they have a group session with the HAGGG mask, so I guess we can assume from there that the mask was at this place, like from the beginning, that it's not just some creepy person who just decided to come here and start killing all these people and brought the mask with him. And let's see, I just wrote down sex lesbians. So I'm guessing there's some scene with the two girls like getting all sexy with each other, which is a nice, enjoyable scene. Then one of the girls finds a head in the toilet, and then the striker guy is just like, no, you had a nightmare. And like, so like convincingly, like she should have just shut her mouth right there and said, oh, you're right, I did, I just woke up. Like, she doesn't fight this at all. When he says, she finds a head in the toilet, and he just says, no, you've had a nightmare. And she, all right. I mean, like, they do look for the head. Like, goes in there and the head's gone, which, again, I don't know how the killer pulled that off, because there's no fucking way. With all the people that were in that room, there was, like, multiple girls that heard her scream, and were all freaked out because she's saying she found this girl's head in the toilet. And there's no way that killer had a chance to move that head. Like, there's no fucking way. Then we get more dancing. There's a lot of dancing in this movie, too. Like I said, there were pacing issues. This movie just did not sit well with me on this rewatch, just for the pacing alone. Then throw in just like the non-existent kills and the lack of gore and just not really even that interesting. Like, I don't know. I've always held this movie, it's held curtains as a pretty decently good slasher film from the 80s. I don't know what happened with this rewatch, but well, hey, we got thousands of other slasher films, so what's one dropping down on the list a bit? Then the music, though, is cool. In that whole scene with the girl dancing in a room, some creepy music that sounds beautiful at the same time. So there is some good music in here. Maybe it's the whole thing, and I've said this on here before, that, like, I'm not a theater person. I'm not a play guy. Like, you'd have to fucking, like, drug me and wheelchair me in to get me into a play. Or theater or any type of production like that. So maybe because this like revolves so much around the theater and all that type of stuff in that world, maybe that's why I didn't care for it that much on this rewatch. I don't know. I've been racking my brain on what the hell happened like on this rewatch for this movie, and I have no idea. But I'm gonna guess that has part to do with it, as well as the other aforementioned issues I have with it. And then we have the striker and the guy that he's sleeping with, the girl, the actress that he's sleeping with, they get both shot to death by a figure that is unseen to us at that point. And we have the last chick who ends up getting in a big chase like we always have with the final girl, except in this time, she don't get away. She ends up getting killed by the HAGGG killer here. And there's some cool shots, like while she's getting there after she gets killed, of all the props in this, like, they're in like a prop warehouse or something like that, and like shots of all the mannequins and like the set pieces around them, like after she gets killed. Those are some cool shots. I like that. Then we find out that the girl who the killer is that cute one, who I don't remember her name, but we find out that Sherwood, the one who was committed at the beginning, killed Stryker and the one that she was sleeping, the one he was sleeping with, because of locking her up in the fucking mental institution, leaving her there, which again, I do not blame her, and those are the only two that she kills. And then we find out that the main last girl, the cute one, is actually the one who killed everybody else. So we have two killers in this movie. One was only really Stryker and the other one, Sherwood, who killed them. But the Hag killer is the cute one from the beginning and throughout the movie. Sorry, I can't say her name, I don't remember it, but she's the cutest, like, out of all of them by far. So if you watch me enough and you got my taste, you know who I'm talking about, or if you've seen the movie, you know who I'm talking about. And it's a creepy little ending too, I'll give it that. I like the ending of this. That she ends up stabbing Sherwood to death, and we find out that she was the killer, and that it like flashbacks like her saying like, have you ever wanted something so much in the world you'd do anything for it, and that she wanted to be an actress. And then the closing shots is of her in like a mental asylum, like on stage, like giving like a stand-up routine almost, but like none of the patrons are listening to her or paying attention like to her at all. Really cool ending. I like the ending to this, even though the rest of it is not that memorable for me, especially on this rewatch, which I know I keep saying, but it's like I really want to figure out like what happened like with this rewatch compared to all the times I've seen this movie in the past, because it definitely did well for me in the past and not so well this time. So for now it's a mystery, and damn, this is a short fucking video on this. I guess, well, again, I don't have much to say on this one, but cool mask, cool scene with the ice skating, fucking irredeemably evil shit with what Stryker does to Sherwood at the beginning of this movie, and cool look of a killer, like I said, and just I wish it had more gore. I wish it had more inventive kills. I wish the dialogue wasn't so bad at times. And yeah, I don't know. I just didn't do it for me this time, guys. But I will have Slaughter High up next, which I do highly enjoy every time I've watched it. So we got that one coming up next. So I will see you guys soon.